Okay, so last week we talked about all of the TV shows in the pipeline that have got us super excited about 2016, new and returning shows coming back on the air. This week we're looking at movies. What's going to drive us to the movie screens? There's so much stuff coming out. It was very hard to whittle down, but I've got my five. Do you have your five?
I got my five.
I got my five and a couple to grow on. I
Yeah,
don't know
we
what
always
that
got
is.
a couple to throw on.
Huh?
The more you know.
Oh, wonderful. I feel like I've just learned something. After school special. How wonderful.
Yeah, same.
Kick it off. Tell me what's on your list.
All right. Well, before I start, I'm going to reiterate what you said, that it was very, very hard to narrow this down. There are some big popcorn movies, as you like to call them, coming out this year. It's going to be a heavy summer for sure. And I don't know how these studios are setting up all of these superhero movies, but there's a lot. And we got a couple in our top 10 list, but some that didn't make the list are the X-Men Apocalypse movie, which I feel like is going to have every X-Men character we've ever seen. This
Yes.
is the last one for some of them, including Jennifer Lawrence. She's out after this. She does not need these movies
No,
any
she
longer.
doesn't.
She can do all the passion projects she wants.
Yeah.
Got Captain America Civil War. I have to say I loved this Captain America Winter Soldier. I was not a huge fan of the first Captain America, but they won me over with that second one. This one has Iron Man in it. We got Suicide Squad coming out, which is kind of this crazy. We have two kind of crazy alternative superhero movies, I think, between that and Doctor Strange. I was listening to a
Oh,
podcast the other day with someone who was talking about wanting to do Doctor Strange. It was Quentin Tarantino, that he didn't even know how he could do it. And they didn't even address the fact that it is coming out. But he was talking about how back in the day, he really wanted to do a Doctor Strange and just didn't know how he could bring it to the screen. So that made me even more interested to see this movie if
yeah.
Quentin Tarantino wasn't sure how to bring it to the stage.
Not a good sign. What's the other
Yeah.
one? Just because you brought up alternative superhero movies, there's another, and the name is escaping me right now, but the big Ryan Reynolds one where he's like
Oh, Deadpool.
Deadpool. Deadpool's coming out too. That's got some fanfare around it.
And I'm so confused about Deadpool. So someone out there that gets it, please comment and explain to me, because I know he's supposed to be like this funny, sarcastic guy, but in Wolverine, when they introduced Deadpool, he was disgusting. He like had his mouth sewn shut and was like bleached white. So I'm very confused. Are those two Deadpools the same? They're both Ryan Reynolds. So someone please explain that.
Well, on Roseanne, they changed out Becky's, and you were just supposed to believe it was the same one. So
You're absolutely right. It is totally
it's
like
just like
Roseanne.
that.
Oh my